What's going on, Internet? Welcome to Entertainment is Dead. This is the social experiment known as us trying Skype. Hi. Um, yeah, we're trying different technology tonight, so things might look a little different, probably sound a little different. I know Lance sounds like he's sitting in front of an air conditioner. Um, so I'm just gonna go through and introduce the cast real quick. Hi, I'm Tom at Thomas Winkley on Twitter. Large and in charge on top for some reason is Chuck Sweat, Lance.
And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Randy. And I just want to let you know, with your current scraggly hobo look, my grandma is probably going to be disappointed in you.
So it'll pretty much be like I'm you. Is that what you're saying?
Damn. Yeah.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Okay.
Randy, what is your Twitter handle now? Are you even on Twitter anymore? Did you just leave it?
I'm still on it. I'm still the, what was I? Webhead bot? That's what I am.
Okay, so you're not Dildo Bot anymore. Cool.
No.
Alright, sweet.
You were dildo bot at one time?
According to Lance, yeah.
Jerk off.
It was his fucking Twitter handle was Ramcom5000. If that doesn't sound like a vibrator, I don't know what does. Like, the fuck is that? Where's the 5000 from?
Yeah,
I mean,
That woman over there is trying out the big gym.
You know, just move on.
Did you have
Let's
to plug it
introduce
into the
Vance.
wall? Did you have to plug it into the wall?
Oh, wireless. Are you kidding me?
It's Bluetooth.
It's a Bluetooth vibrator.
Your car picks it up.
Nice.
Oh, and the chucklehead on the end is Vance. What up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, guys? You can follow me at Rogue Nola Roll on Twitter. I don't know. I probably should change that.
Fuck
Good-
is
good
that?
Good luck spelling it, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
ROGUE and then NOLLA Roll.
I'm gonna tell everybody that again at the end of the cast, so that nobody will fucking find you.
That'll be
It sounds-
Lance's test.
It sounds like a really dirty bowel movement. Is what it sounds like. So
I had one of those today. I ate pho today in
Oh,
West
man.
Valley.
Yeah.
I destroyed the toilet. I had the foops for sure, or the pups. What
Oh,
would you
my
call
God.
that?
I don't know. We're moving
When
on.
do you not?
So,
Every time I've known you, you've had that. Like, you always destroy the toilet, no matter where you are.
oh, man,
Don't act like this is anything new.
This derailed real quickly.
so quick.
Where is Mandy? Like, to come pull us out of this downward
Where is
spiral?
Mandy? This is getting
Whatever.
so bad. I
Knowing,
just want to
knowing
quit
Mandy,
now.
knowing Mandy, she'd be like, "Balls! Today, this is what happened."
Oh my
And she'd
gosh.
talk about her own.
I shit a mountain. That's
She'd probably give us some story about like what pregnancy does to you, and it'd be like we'd all
She's
be
like,
just mortified.
Today I made the lonely mountain in the toilet.
She's she sings the dwarf song. Okay. All right. Now that we've gotten all of our poop humor out, it is December 30th, 2014. This is the last episode of Entertainment is Dead for the year. And so we wanted to follow everybody else's lead and talk about our favorite games of the year. And I don't know how you guys want to do it. Do you want to go like round table where we each like bring up a title and talk about it, or do we just want to go down our lists? What do you think? I'm thinking top 5.
Okay.
And
And then why we could talk about. I should say top. I might only have top 3.
that's fine. It was kind of a shitty year for video games. I'm not gonna lie. It was a real
Yeah.
rough year. But we could talk about that too. You know what we thought about the year. You know, I think it being really the inaugural year for 2 next gen consoles. Anyway, I have a whole opinion level I could give, but yeah, let's do it. So, do you guys want to go round table, one game at a time, and just do top couple?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I think I'll go first.
Okay,
That's
Lance.
cool.
Yeah, take us off, man.
So I'm going to start out with my number 3, which is going to be Titanfall. I had a great time playing that at the beginning of the year. It's still a good game. I did sell my copy with the intentions of picking it up again later. I still have it on PC, but it runs like shit on my PC. I really feel like that was the first good next gen title. It had a lot of good things going for it. I think the second one, which they will make, is going to just take it and run even further with it. And I called it. You can go back and listen to our episode when we were first playing Titanfall. Call of Duty did the same shit, and you're gonna see a couple of knockoff titles in the same vein as Titanfall coming up. You know, I think that's the way things are going. And but yeah, I had a great time playing that. Second, Destiny. Despite how much Tom hates that I talk about Destiny, and despite all the holes and all the problems that everybody has been complaining about with Destiny, it is still, in my opinion, the most ambitious game on the consoles right now. It has a lot to offer. Bungie is a great studio that listens to the people who are playing the game, and it's going to grow and it's going to develop and it's going to get even better. The further along it gets, it's going to keep developing into something that's a better game, and that's great. They're a great company for that. There's not a lot of people. A lot of people just hand you a product, Activision, and say, "Here, fucking play it." And if you don't like it, trade it in. And they're very good with their people that play their games, with their clientele. And for my number one, which is probably going to be surprising for everybody here, considering I never play games like this, the best game I think I played this year is Guacamelee. I loved it. I love that studio.
I was pretty shocked by that you picked like a Metroidvania platformer as one of your favorite game of the year.
So, little known fact, Castlevania holds a special place in my heart, even though Tom is the Castlevania king in this group and he has the sleeve. I loved Castlevania 1. I played the shit out of it when I was a kid. I really missed the boat on Symphony of the Night. I've tried to go back and play it, and it's just like, I am a graphics whore, and if I don't play something in its prime, I have a really hard time going back and playing it. I couldn't play Diablo 2 for that exact reason. I tried to play Symphony of the Night, and I just missed the boat on the graphics train. So that was a title I missed, but Guacamelee is so much fun, and if you haven't played it, it's worth every dime. Even if I would say that is, you won't pay this much for the game, but it is a $40 game that you will get for probably $30 at most. If you find it on sale, you'll probably pick it up for $15 or less. It happened to be free on Xbox One for a month, and it was the best free game I've ever played. I beat the whole game. It took me about, and it's not like super difficult. It's timing based, but it's not a super difficult game. The learning curve isn't really rough, and it didn't make me throw my controller. So definitely hands off. That was my favorite game this year. So thank you, Drinkbox, for that great game. I'll make sure to pick up. They've had another game come in, Severed. I asked him for a review copy, so hopefully I get that. And I'd love to play that game. So anyways, that's me. Any questions?
Dude, I love Titanfall. I thought it was great. I thought it was way underrated.
Yeah.
Way underappreciated.
See, and maybe we have different social circles, because I feel like on the Big Shiny Robot side, that game got jerked off for months.
Did it?
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
What?
the thing I find interesting is how quickly I feel like everybody walked away from it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I even bought some of the expansions, but I think the biggest thing for me was the expansions didn't have that much to offer.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it was new maps, and the problem was the original product. The original maps were so good. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't really need to play all these other new maps. You're not really adding to it. But I think with the invention of competitive play now and leagues, I think you'll see some people go back to it. That's kind of like my big push towards all those games is get away from. You don't need to pour more chocolate on the sundae. It doesn't need that. What you need to do is let people kind of create their own competitive nature about the game and let them climb their own ladders. And all of a sudden, that's where you're going to get the longevity of the game. I mean, look at the fucking Counter-Strike. They don't really add anything new to it. I mean, there's new skins and stuff like that, but that's not what keeps people playing. What keeps people playing is the ladders.
I totally agree.
I had a lot of fun with Titanfall. It was a lot of fun. And I still have it. I didn't sell my copy or anything. And if I try to sell it now, I mean, it's like what, $8? Like it's
probably.
It's crap to sell right
And
now.
you can because I just got my Xbox One. I could pick up a copy for $20.
Right.
I think
and
it's
so
on sale right now too, by the way, if you do want to pick it back up, which that reminds me I might want to do
I'm
that.
a very different type of gamer than Chuck is. I wish I hadn't paid the full price for the game. But I still had fun playing it. And when I go back and I play it now, I always find it funny because you can tell who the like Call of Duty or the Halo players are because they're the ones that are running down the middle of the street instead of actually, jumping up on top of buildings and playing Titanfall the way you should play Titanfall. They're the ones who try to take on a Titan without roading it. They're just like standing in the street shooting their gun at it, and it's like, you're gonna die, buddy. You should probably, I'll just kill you. That's fine. I think Titanfall's in my top 5 for sure. It's probably number 5 for me.
Cool.
But that's just because I'm not a big multiplayer person.
Well, who wants to share their list next then? Randy, do you want to go since you're there?
I think one more thing I want to say about Titanfall that I loved, that Randy probably hated, and I think a lot of people hated, was the fact that there was no single-player story, and I loved that.
Yeah,
because that's
exactly
something
right.
I've been bitching about for so long, is that I feel like there needs to be a disconnect between multiplayer games and single-player games. They need to completely separate them and build them separately. And the reason why is because people expect too much out of one or the other. And there's not enough medium. There's not enough in between for that.
You have to focus on one part or the other. You're never going to satisfy both. And so you need to split them. Or if you are going to try and combine the two, you need to do what Destiny did. And you can play through single player, but there's certain missions that you need to do multiplayer for. And that was a nice marriage between the two. However, and that's for the campaign side of things. Now, Destiny has their own multiplayer with the Crucible and everything like that, which I never play because I don't care about any of that. I care more about the story side of things. And so I think Titanfall did great that they were like, we're not really going to focus on the story. You're at war with each other, go kill each other. And it's a multiplayer game, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about your thoughts on Destiny? I don't know if it was in your... Why don't you go ahead and rattle off your...
Destiny is my number 4. So
Okay.
I'd say Titanfall is 5, Destiny's 4. I think Destiny is a solid game. I really enjoy it. I didn't play it nearly as much as everybody else did. I mean, everyone else was at like level 20 when I was at like level 7 or something with my guy. And then there wasn't really a reason for it. I just didn't have as much time as I wanted to play it. But it's not in my top 3 because it's not a game that I keep coming back to replay. There's just, I don't know, there's not enough there that's drawing me back in, I guess. But I still liked the game. I think the graphics were fun. I thought the gameplay was solid. The one thing I do wish that I got sick of was it seemed like with each new planet I went to, I was just encountering a different knight or a different, like the enemies were the same. I could defeat them the same way. You popped a shield and I need to shoot you as soon as your shield's gone. Or, the wizard was just a different version because he's a different race. And that kind of bugged me. Like I didn't feel like there was enough thought behind the enemy. Now I haven't played any of the DLC for it yet, so I can't speak to any of that. And so I could be way off base as far as the Dark Below and stuff goes.
Well, I think that they have there's different appeals there. Let me ask you a question, though, in regards to Destiny. Did you feel like the storyline was good enough for you? Because you're a single-player story guy.
No, it wasn't. The storyline was boring.
So I totally agree. I have still, to this day, I have not completed the story on either one of my characters. I have 300 clocked hours in that game already.
See, and that's my point. I think that's what didn't keep me coming back was I got really bored with the story really quick. And Tom looks bored of us just talking about the story.
Yeah.
To their credit, though, I'm going to go back to something Vance was talking about earlier. Is he's talking about ladders, and that is part of why that game is so appealing to me and keeps me coming back. And games like Halo 3 kept me coming back, and I sunk a ton of hours into Halo 3 Online because they introduced things that you could unlock, and so you're like, I really want that. And it's not going to really necessarily... Destiny kind of a little bit breaks the multiplayer with abilities and guns and shit like that, but it keeps you playing the game, right?
Right.
So, anyways, moving on. Go ahead.
So my number 3 pick, and I'm sure I'll make enemies with this, but is Assassin's Creed Unity. There's one big reason that I love Assassin's Creed, and it's because I'm a big history buff, and so I love to take... The French Revolution is one of my favorite moments of history, and so I really I enjoy seeing them taking what actually happened in history and then putting their own spin on it for the game's sake. And so I'm one of those geeks who, when I encounter the landmark or they talk about some famous person in history, I actually will read the bio, whereas most people just skip over it because they don't care. And so they've also... except when it launched. The multiplayer isn't actually that bad. It was glitchy in the beginning, but it's really fun to go through and do co-op missions with each other. I've played with Steve and Mandy, and we do missions all the time with each other, and it's a lot of fun. I don't really have much else to say about it other than it's fun to customize your character and make him look his own way. And I know you're itching to say something, Lance, so I'll go ahead and I'll stop so you can say what you want to say. Go ahead.
I'm going to let Tom do it.
What am I supposed to say?
All right.
Yeah.
Tom just
Okay.
barely got the Unity Xbox bundle, so
Well,
He's not going to play that game.
Like, honest to God, those cards are just sitting inside the box, sealed up. Like, I'm debating selling them on like KSL, but I've seen like 4 people attempt to sell those codes, and they've gone absolutely nowhere. Like,
I was one of them.
I might need to make like a paper airplane of it and like throw it at the shelter and see what happens. I'll probably play it. So the thing with me in Assassin's Creed is it's not one of my favorite game series, but it is one of those games when it's like, all right, I need something to play that'll keep me interested for 15 hours. I'll sit down and play through. You know, I played Assassin's Creed 3 a year ago. I think I beat it this spring. I played it in the spring, and it's fine.
And see, and I have to, because technically my number 3 is dovetailed because Shadow of Mordor is a lot of fun, but it's an Assassin's Creed clone, but set in.
But I feel like the depth that it has, and some of the stuff I've heard, like I haven't played it. I need to buy that game, but like, you know, we had a buddy talking about he was dominating certain monsters, and he had a quest where he had to go kill certain orc chieftains or captains, one of the two.
Right.
And so he dominated some giant like ogre thing, and just marched across the map and ate him.
Yeah, and
that's
which
cool.
is cool. And what I liked more about Shadow of Mordor that Assassin's Creed doesn't have is that each time you replay it through, you can kind of pick who you want your orc captains to be, and you can take them over and then send them on missions. And so I actually played it during the Extra Life charity thing, and I spent a good majority of the time leveling up my one orc who had this flaming tin can on his head, and he was called Hothead. That was his name in the game, and I beat him enough that I gave him enough scars all over his body that he was scared of fire, but he still swore fire on top of his head, and I thought that was hilarious. And so you can customize it in that regard. But you play it through, and it is an Assassin's Creed. I mean, the viewpoints, it has a lot of inspiration from Assassin's Creed. But I think it has more replay value than Assassin's Creed does.
Give it to Monolith to make me actually want to play a game that's like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
My number 2 is actually something I got for Christmas, and I've been playing the crap out of it. It's Disney Infinity 2.0.
Ooh.
That game is super fun. I have, character-wise, I have Venom, Stitch, and Merida from Brave. So I don't have all the Avengers yet, and I want to get them. They're on my lists for birthdays and Christmases. And it's the reason I like this game is it's a game I can play with my 3-year-old that keeps her attention, and I don't have to worry about what she's going to see on the screen. And it's still fun for me as an adult, but it's also fun for her as a kid. And it's fun I like SimCity style stuff, so I like to build my own little toy box. I like all the interior stuff. It's just a solid game, and there's a lot of collector stuff with it. The fact that each new character I get goes up on my shelf adds to that geek in me that has to collect things.
So we actually got that for Christmas for Hank. I haven't got to spend that much time with it. Did you get the Spider-Man set?
No, that's my next thing I'm buying. So because I have Venom already, and right now because I don't have Spider-Man's world, Venom just runs around in the toy boxes I create. So I haven't actually been able to do any of the storyline stuff yet. But Venom's fun to play as, and I can still build my own worlds and fight bad guys I put in there, so I can still level him up and build his skill tree. And one thing that they did that they talked about at Comic-Con was they made sure they spent time with each character, so it didn't feel like when you played as Venom, you were just playing as another version of Hulk.
Yeah, skin of Hulk.
They made sure that each character was unique, and so far it has been. Like I said, I only have those 3. But from what I've seen of other people play, it seems that each character is very unique, and you can make the skill tree to customize your character however you want, which I think is awesome because they didn't have to do that. I mean, Lego Marvel is a great example where a lot of the heroes are just skins of each other, and it's still fun and entertaining, but when you play as Sandman, you're just playing as another version of Hulk or Venom, or, like, they're the same guy.
Like, if you play, like, Venom looks like a Hulk, and he plays much like a Hulk when he's big. I mean, I think the only different characters that I felt like were actually like different as big people were Juggernaut. Juggernaut played differently than Hulk, and I think, but still, there's only like 2 or 3 big guys that played.
There
differently.
wasn't a lot of variety. Now, Lego Marvel's still one of my favorite games, and it was in my top 5 of 2013, and it still has a lot of replay value to it. But I have to give Avalanche the credit with Disney Infinity that they took time with each character. But my number 1 game, and this might surprise some of you, it probably won't surprise Tom, but it's the second half of The Walking Dead Season 2. That game is amazing. And the things that they did, and the fact that they made me care about the characters and feel guilty about the characters I was betraying, I haven't had since Walking Dead Season 1. And I haven't had that in any game since for a very long time. So the fact that I actually care about these characters that don't exist, and when I replay through it just to do all the different choices, and I'm either super sad to do something, I don't want to give any spoilers away because I don't know who's played the game and who hasn't, but I'm either super sad to shoot so-and-so in the face or to abandon them on the side of the road. Like I'm torn between those two decisions, even though I already know what's going to happen. That is credit where credit is due to a video game. And it's just an amazing series. Telltale has done a great job.
You two beat the game.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, because I bought it, I have it on PC. I beat it originally. I beat the first season on PC. Now, I bought it again on Xbox One because it's on sale this week. And I don't have any background. I don't want to buy the first one again. And I don't want to play through the first one again. So my choices, are my choices going to play that much into it?
They play a bit into it, but I don't think it's going to really affect you that much.
Okay.
Basically, you run into some people that you knew from the first game, and it'll either be an awkward meeting or it'll be like a happy reunion.
Yeah.
Like that's basically it.
And I don't, it's interesting because I was talking to somebody about Season 1, and they were reminding me of some of the stuff in Season 1, like the Cannibal House, and how like fucking terrible that was.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that that series like desensitized me as a gamer. Like by the end, I was like, whatever, fucking kill that guy, just do it. I don't care.
Right.
Like it really gets under your skin and changes the way you make decisions because you start getting this dark perception of the game of like, thank you, Lance. No matter what I do, oh my god, no matter what I do in this game, it's gonna be a bad, depressing turnout. So I don't care. Like, you start to take that on.
Something the game has done very well, and it's a theme from the comics that they're pulling into the show now, is Rick that we have now in the show is very different from Rick in Season 1. And they talk about it all the time in that Walking Dead or Talking Dead podcast thing afterwards, where if basically Rick now is how Shane was in Season 1 of the TV show. And Shane would have made the same decisions that Rick makes now, he just would have done it earlier. And basically how this world desensitizes you to the world, and you have to become a different person. Right. And where do you draw the line? And they did the cannibal thing in the show, they did the cannibal things in the comics, and they did it in the video games. And there's things in Season 2 from the video game that have been in the comics and in the show. And I guess that's one thing I love, is that they pull from their source material, but they still make these characters their own thing. They're not relying on Rick or Glenn or whoever to show up to make you interested. You care about Clementine, and that's your only motivation.
Bullshit. They pulled Glenn in the first series at the beginning.
Yeah, but it was more of a... Glenn was there, but it was more of an Easter egg. If they really wanted to do something like bring in fans, they would have pulled in Daryl. Because Glenn's he wasn't a fan favorite. He was just an Asian guy who swore at Rick in a tank. Yeah. Like, no one cared about Glenn.
That's true.
Okay.
Anyways, that's my 5.
Okay, Vance, you want to go?
Yeah, mine's going to be a lot shorter.
That's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I definitely have. I was huge. I think the big thing for the year for me was Titanfall was a huge breath of fresh air. And I've always been a huge arena shooter fan. I love Quake 3 Arena. Still play Quake Live to this day. Still play Unreal Tournament 2003 on a regular basis. Still go back and play Quake 2 every once in a while. And I think that shooters have kind of made, at least competitive shooters, kind of made and you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, but I think anything Bungie's done from Halo 3 on, and that includes Destiny, are all steps backwards. And you can see it; they're all starting to go towards arena shooter mechanics. You know, the new Halo has jetpacks and everything. And it was really funny is I ended up putting the new Halo right next to Unreal Tournament 2004, 2003, and watching the gameplay, and it was just eerie how similar it was.
I can totally agree with you on some points. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, well, I mean, it's like we said about the gray area. I mean, there's no definitive line in the sand. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a series of decisions that somebody made that we agree with or we disagree with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was one of my big games of the year. I also had a little chance to play a little bit of Inquisition. I thought it was a really solid game. Trying to think, most of the stuff that I played was definitely more indie. And although you can't really consider Binding of Isaac a game that came out this year,
I don't know. It got enough re-releases. I'd say so. I mean, it came out on PS4, PS Vita, PS3. Then it got the Rebirth, right? I'd say it's fair.
Okay, so I would say I like Titanfall more, but Binding of Isaac HD Redux or whatever they're calling it now, the HD remix, was mechanically. See, I'm the complete opposite of somebody that loves story in video games. I'm more of the John Carmack school of thought, which is a story. You know, John Carmack had this really great quote, and it goes like, I think I'm gonna butcher it, but he says, you know, I treat story in a game the same way I treat a story in a pornography. You know, it's there. Everybody kind of expects it to be there, but it doesn't really matter, you know. And I think that's, you know, that was the big design behind, you know, Doom and Quake and all these great shooters that really wrote the book on everything. Now, don't get me wrong. If you love story in games, great, awesome, enjoy it. But for me, it's all about.
That's why I watch the porn too. It's the story, you know. It's I read Playboy for the articles.
There you go.
I'm telling your wife.
Thank you for being honest. We appreciate it. But that was really what it was. I think there was a lot of indie games that really experimented with a lot of awesome game mechanics this year, and they're not really getting their due because they're getting drowned out by titles that are good. They're great titles. Like Divinity Original Sin was an awesome title, and everybody gave it a ton of press, and it deserved it because it was a really great game. But did it break any new ground? Not really. Was it Transistor? No, not really. You know, was it the beta for gosh dang it, Hyper Light Drifter? No, it wasn't. You know.
And that's true. There were a lot of indie games that weren't on my list that were solid games. They were fun, and they just didn't get the recognition that they should have.
It seems to be the thing in our industry, man. You know, the big games that have the money for the advertising and they can get in your face, and they're also large. I think a lot of gamers look for large production. You know, they're looking for the fireworks and whatnot. So anyway, going back, I had to Titanfall, and I thought Transistor was amazing, and I thought Binding of Isaac was amazing. So the guys at Meat Boy, if they ever see this, you guys are fucking amazing. You're rock stars. I love you.
Binding of Isaac is just so, like, I think anything procedurally generated, and I know that's kind of a buzzword in gaming right now, right? Like, this game is procedurally generated.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, there's been, like, a lot of really good ones. And it was hard for me to make a top 10, let alone a top 15 list because of the indie game thing. Mainly because I feel like from a AAA perspective, it was kind of a shitty year. Like, if you really think about it, it was our first full year with next-gen consoles, you know what I mean? And a lot of the AAA stuff they're doing on next-gen console, they're doing it on PC, they're doing it on, you know, they're trying to get it on everything. And I felt like it was kind of a weak year from a AAA perspective. And it was hard to name all the indie games. You know, I played Binding of Isaac this year for the first time and love it.
Yeah.
Transistor was incredible. And it's not even my style of game. I don't usually like that style of RPG, but just the art and the narration kept me going. And
really beautiful game.
It was tough for me to make a list in general because of that, because it was like, I don't know if I can narrow it down. You know, I played so many killer indie games. But I'll use that as a segue into my list, I guess.
Perfect.
So, and now going back, I I've got a game on my list that I'm actually gonna change to probably one of my biggest disappointments of the year, and I'll do that at the end. But Broken Age, and I don't have a number one, but Broken Age by Double Fine.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a close contender for my favorite game of the year.
Dude, Tim Schafer's the man.
He is the man, and the thing is that he's not just riding on his reputation. This game was really good. It was beautiful. It had great humor. The voice acting was incredible. Elijah Wood killed it. I can't remember the guy that's the voice of the lumberjack, but he was fucking incredible. There was a lumberjack that was afraid of wood. I mean, it was just a really clever game.
Don't introduce him to the Ramcon 5000.
Oh man! So that was
Lumbersexual.
Yeah, it was really great. And whose voice was it? It was the thing is, it's like an actor, like you hear his voice, you're like, holy shit. Titanfall was on my list.
Yeah.
The Capcom's re-release of Strider.
That was a beautiful game.
That was a beautiful re-release, and Strider's just a great freaking game. The Walking Dead Season 2. The Wolf Among Us started last year, but finished this year, so I put The Wolf Among Us on there, which is another Telltale title.
I just actually bought that.
It's, oh my gosh, it is gritty, it is dirty, it is everything you would expect from Bill Willingham's Fables, and it is so much fun to play through.
What was the name of the game you were just saying? The Lumberjack? What's the name of the game?
It's called
Broken Age.
Broken Age, and it's done. But it was. Do you remember when Double Fine Studios did the first video game Kickstarter about 2.5 years ago?
Will Wheaton is the voice.
Will
of
Wheaton.
Lumberjack.
There you go. It's Will Wheaton. Yep. I mean, just a killer game, and that was something. Part 2 is supposed to come out soon. And I mean, the thing is what they did is now that they've got that, we're getting a re-release of Grim Fandango.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting the
really?
Yeah, Grim Fandango is coming out on PS4 and PS Vita on January 27th.
Fuck
and
off.
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle is coming out to PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm
they're
kind of
also
jealous about Day of the Tentacle. That was one of my favorite games back in the day,
Yeah.
and I hope they. I don't have a PlayStation, but I hope they expand on it. Like, I hope it's not just a re-release.
Well, and
are they going to be? Like, is it going to be a Final Fantasy re-release, or are they up in the graphics?
I don't think
they're doing a whole.
They're doing a whole thing, yeah. And to make it even better, I think like between Telltale Games doing their amazing episodic stuff, and then you've got with Broken Age's success, we're also now going to get a new King's Quest, which I cannot fucking wait.
I need to still go back and play Psychonauts too.
Has anyone played the Game of Thrones Telltale stuff yet?
Not yet. I haven't.
I was going to get Adam on the show to talk about it soon, but I actually just bought it, so I should probably try and do that as my homework this week.
Thomas, I got even more good news.
What is that?
This is just rumor, so it hasn't hit but it's saying it's really reputable. They might do a remake or another episode or another sequel to Full Throttle.
Oh my god!
I know.
Full
when I heard
Throttle
that, I
was so
freaking
good.
wept myself.
Oh man, all those games need to come back. So
what else was on your list?
Anyway, sorry, we digress. But another one that was on my list. I'm probably gonna catch some flack for this, but Castlevania: Lords of Shadow 2 was it got really rough reviews. I really enjoyed that game this year. The unique perspective on Alucard, the unique perspective on just that backstory, the way they spin it is really cool, and it was really fun, and the combat system was beautiful. So, there's.
Do you think they're gonna get another one of the new Castlevanias?
I don't know. Yeah, I hope so. I really liked it. I mean, they wrapped the story up pretty completely, but I don't see why they couldn't go do something with a different Belmont and give it another cool go.
So can we say some spoilers from the first game right now? Because
yeah, it's like 4 years old. I think we're okay.
Okay, so here's the thing: is I really was excited for this game because you know me, I like Castlevania 2, and I played the first game and it was glitchy as fuck on the Xbox. I remember the Xbox 360. I got stuck on that ice guy, and I just got glitched in the game, and I couldn't get past it. And so it killed the game for me. So instead of replaying it, I actually I read through the wiki on it and like figured out like that at the end of it, doesn't he discover that he's Dracula, right?
Basically. Right. Yeah, Gabriel Belmont becomes Dracula,
which is cool. That was a cool little thing that they did there. And then the new one, there's Alucard and Dracula, right? Like
Mhm.
basically, is that the beginning of the game?
Well, isn't that technically the end of the game because you don't play backwards through it, or is that a
No,
different
that's the middle one.
Castlevania?
So they made a bridge. So they did a bridge for it. It was on the 3DS, and that one you start out and you do play backwards through the game, which is pretty cool. But no, this one, yeah, Alucard. Is Alucard in this? No, Alucard's not in the second one yet until the ending ish. He's in and out of it. You see him and he does some stuff because like you're jumping back and forth through time, and so during the time travel, he's involved. But it's great. It's really I liked that game, and I was probably one of the few journalists that did, but I really liked it. So
what's that? Do you have anything else on your list?
I do. I think I have my favorite game of the year. And it actually came out on PC first a year ago, but then it ported over to PS4 and PS Vita and PS3. It was a cross buy, and I've put so many hours into it. It's Rogue Legacy. It was an indie title from Cellar Door Games. It is a Metroidvania game, and the way it works, the whole premise of the game is the king or the lord, your father, is dying of some poison. And to get the poison, you have to go into this evil castle to get it. And the evil castle is procedurally generated, and you go as far as you can until you die. And then when you die, you pick the next member of your family's lineage, who can either be one of 4 classes that's randomly generated. They have random effects, like one of them is colorblind. And if you're playing as a colorblind family member, the entire game is in black and white.
That's pretty cool.
If you're playing as a family member that has giantism, they have extra HP and they're huge. Or if they're farsighted, then everything close to you is blurry and pixelated, but everything far away is crystal clear. So there's really cool stuff like that. And then while you're going through, you're getting money. Use that money to buy additional abilities so you can progress further into the castle. So you're literally just jumping into this randomly generated castle over and over and over and over again. And once you kill a main boss, then that boss stays dead, and you keep trying to grind through to get to the next boss.
See, and that's cool. That's unique. That's a cool premise.
Well, and the way they did the cross-buy was so amazing because it would literally, when you save your game, it would auto-upload to the cloud. When I grabbed my Vita and turned it on, it would pull down the latest save, and I would start right where I left off on my Vita. So I could literally jump console to console throughout my house, and it's like I never turned off my system. So,
Cloud-based gaming, baby. It's crunchy.
It's sick. It was pretty sweet.
So 2014, okay year for games, not the best, right?
Right.
I had a couple honorable mentions that I forgot about.
Well, and I wanted I wanted to list off like Steve and Jacob submitted some items. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and I want to hear Randy's point, and then Lance, you can do your honorable mentions.
No, let him do his honorable mentions, and then I'll say what I wanted to say.
Okay, cool.
So, a couple games that I looked over that I really appreciated. I really liked Outlast.
Oh yeah,
I played a few hours of that,
I forgot about that.
Fucking scary. That is probably my
Good
favorite scary game this year.
Dude, Daylight is like Outlast. That was another one that was really terrifying. Good call.
I've not beat it. I don't know that I ever will. Like, it's so good. I hate not being able to kill people, man. It sucks. So, you know, with a couple other games that have come out that I played that I didn't really care for, I was looking for a really good title, and I was trying to like just dig through horror titles, and I was like, man, that was the only good horror game that I think I played this year. So there's that, and then the other one that Randy should check out at some point or another. I think everybody who has kids would appreciate Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
I want to get that. I love the actual iPad game, the first one, not the second one. But I do want to play through that.
They're nothing similar, bro.
No, they're not.
Well, no, I know that. I know, but I love the world. That's what I mean. I know it's a completely different style of gaming, but I just love the world.
It's all online. It's all shooter based.
Right.
And I've had a lot of fun playing it. I've had a lot of fun playing it with Hank. I wouldn't say it's a perfect game by any means, but it's solid. It runs really well. It's got good game mechanics. It does what it's supposed to do, and I had a lot of fun playing it in a how do I put it, children friendly environment. Right. So if you got young kids but you still want to have a shooter, it's a great shooter. So
good.
Anyways,
I was just gonna say I think it'd be fun for everyone to say their their biggest regret that they
Oh,
bought
yeah.
in 2014.
Oh yeah, that's
For
great.
me, it's Watch Dogs. I
Ooh,
hate
yeah.
that game. I was super excited for that game. I was trying to defend it when it came out. Like, no, it's not that
We
bad.
even went to the
Blah,
midnight
blah,
launch and like
blah.
hung out and
Yeah.
interviewed people. Like, you were stoked.
I was so excited. Like, I had a geek boner for that game. It was ridiculous. And then put it in my console and it wouldn't even load. Like, it was just bad. But the launch problems aside, the whole game mechanic was just bad. I took that game back after only like maybe 6 or 8 hours of gameplay because I hated it that much. And in that same, that's the biggest regret I have that I bought. My biggest, like, I'm glad I didn't buy this was Grand Theft Auto 5. I borrowed my buddy's copy, and I'm so glad I did not buy that game because I was bored out of my mind.
On Xbox One,
Hmm.
I like it. I didn't mention it or anything. I don't think that it's anything groundbreaking. I am going to play through the story on it, but it's fun for what it is. I really liked one of my favorite games of all time is Red Dead Redemption, and for that I will give Rockstar a pass on a few things.
That's fair.
And one of my biggest complaints with that game is that I like to play multiplayer games, and they don't. You have to play, which by the way, on the Xbox One, I do appreciate that it's a much bigger world now. So you get to play with 32 people in that world now. It's like 30 or 32, which is nice. So PS4 and Xbox One have a much bigger world, but you have to get people in your world to play games with you. So you basically send out a request. And if people don't want to play deathmatch with you, they just won't play, which is fucking stupid. Just put me in an area on whatever server you've got and let me play deathmatch with people.
Well, and if you want to do it as like it's a place that exists in the world, just let me drive to a certain city or whatever that is the deathmatch city. So as soon as I enter that city, I'm in a deathmatch with everybody. Yeah.
So now I'm just forced to go around and kill people that have better guns than me because they chose to race cars, which is fucking ridiculous.
So anyways, Watch Dogs was my biggest regret.
Okay. Lance, biggest regret of 2014.
Halo Master Chief Collection. And to tag on to what Vance was talking about earlier, yeah, Halo, I really like Bungie as a studio. I think they're a great studio. There's a few studios that stand out in my mind that I think actually respect people and make good quality products and don't put out dog shit. For the most part, Bungie has not put out dog shit. But this game, by 343, I can't. I am just shocked. Like I am just shocked that this game got put out. Not to mention, it kind of ruined nostalgia for me. Like I went back and played it, and I did like a lot of the stuff for Halo 2, but it's broken. It's old, and it's something that I'm not. Everything has progressed since then, and you're right. Maybe it's taken steps back. Like there's things like you're talking about arena shooters and stuff like that. I can see your point to where you're saying like, yeah, they regressed and they keep regressing back to something that used to happen, with Quake, Arena, and everything like that. But you got to remember that not everybody had a PC back then and could play those games. I mean, I played Quake 2 online. I didn't play Quake Arena.
It's irrelevant whether people had PCs back then or not. The game designers had PCs. They were the ones that were weaned on. Bungie was a PC gaming platform. They made Mac. They made the first Macintosh shooter, which was called Marathon. It was amazing.
Well, Halo was originally supposed to be on Mac, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair. I think 2014 can be listed as the year of the incomplete game.
Yeah.
Which leads into my biggest regret of the year, which is Little Big Planet 3.
Oh.
So Little Big Planet 3 and I have a pretty good. I love those games. My wife and I play the hell out of them together. That's a game that she and I can sit down for hours, have a great time. Little Big Planet 3 shipped broken, and it is so goddamn frustrating.
Well, didn't they just try too hard with all the different people you can be, and like you get stuck within things like.
Well, that, but this is even worse than that. So in the co-op, you get to a certain point in the game. We were in the fourth world or third world where you're unlocking the last like different sack monster you can get. And as it's starting to load us into the world, suddenly it says it fails to load player 2 profile and boots us out of the game. And from this point on, we cannot play multiplayer Little Big Planet anymore. It's just gone. You cannot play multiplayer.
Wow.
I've uninstalled the game. I've reinstalled it. I've backed up my save. The save files just corrupt themselves, and they're just listing upon listing on forums about it. And it's basically like they're working on it. They'll patch it when they can.
It's like the old when you had to put memory cards in your PlayStation,
Yeah.
and I would get through I'd have multiple saves on different memory cards because if that one file got
You
corrupted,
were fucked,
I didn't
yeah.
want to have to go through everything again.
Yeah, and that was my. I mean, to me, that just. And I felt like that put the icing on the shit Sunday that has been the year of 2014 in gaming. Like, I feel like this has been the most disappointing year as an industry for me that I've had, and not because I'm bitter or I'm angry, but because I feel like these studios were rushing to get stuff out so aggressively they let down a lot of things. You know, Destiny, you could argue it shipped incomplete. I know that was their model or whatever, but I do feel the game shipped incomplete. Watch Dogs shipped broken. Little Big Planet 3 shipped broken. Assassin's Creed Unity shipped broken. How many times did the PlayStation Network and Xbox One go down over the year? You know, it was just a really frustrating year in that aspect. But yeah, my biggest Sony, that's a rant, but
Halo shipped fucking broken.
yeah, Halo Master
Well,
Chief
that's
Collection
just it.
shipped broken.
If you're gonna push back the game because it's not working right, then keep pushing it back until you launch
it
a
works
good
right.
game.
Yeah.
Because nothing pisses me off more than you pushing back the game because you're working out bugs, and then all of a sudden it comes out and there's still all these bugs.
yeah.
It's like, why did you push it back for 6 months?
Yeah, and we were.
It
I
drives
think-
me nuts.
And
I think
And-
the bottom line is it's bad business. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
It
yeah,
is.
it's bad business for them because they have people that have deadlines and whatever. But I think the bigger picture is that they got to realize, like, people like Blizzard say the game will be done when it's done. Fucking great. Keep
Well,
doing
Well, not
that.
only that, but I'm going to go back to Disney Infinity 2.0. Disney Infinity 1, they had the app and you could build your whole toy box in the app and it worked great. They launched 2.0 and the app wasn't ready yet. It's still not out. It's coming out sometime this next year.
But it's
they
not
they
out.
won't release it until it works. And yeah, I would love the app to be able to build my city or whatever, but if it's not going to let me build my city in the app and then carry it over to my console, I don't want it. That's the point. Like you said, Blizzard says it'll be done when it's done.
Yeah.
That's
Same with
fine.
Valve.
Yeah, Valve did well.
Oh yeah, Valve. Yeah.
Now,
Batman
this is,
Arkham Knight. Same
Did I
thing.
hear a rumor
pushed it
that
back.
episode 3 is gonna happen?
dude, don't believe anything right now.
That's like the Ghostbusters 3 rumors, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
that's just
so-
Don't
all
believe
over.
anything. So this is what I'm gonna say, and this is the little bit of information I really understand about the industry from talking. Because believe it or not, one of the lead programmers over at Avalanche is my cousin, Dwayne Skinner, and you know you're married to your publisher for better or worse, however you want to look at it. And some companies can write their own check. Blizzard writes their own check. Valve writes their own check.
Well, Valve's also their own publisher, so
Pretty much, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You know, and even though is Vivendi still associated with Blizzard? I can't remember, or is it?
They got bought
it's-
out by
they got
Activision.
Yeah, they're Activision.
So as much as Activision wants to tell Blizzard what to do, Blizzard goes, "We're bigger than you." So you can say what you want about being our publisher, but it's done what it's done, and if you don't like it, sit on it and rotate. But these smaller companies, especially with Ubisoft, man, the chair or the board of trustees that I don't know if you call it the board of trustees, but anyway, the board that oversees all of Ubisoft's projects, you know, they're slamming their fist down saying this better release because we need to turn a profit this quarter. That's what we have planned. So figure it out, you know. And it's unfortunate because it destroys games like, you know, Assassin's Creed, and it destroys games like.
Well, it's just a bad
Watch
business
Dogs.
model. Whether
It
it was
really
a,
is.
a console, a TV, a phone, a car, whatever. Like, you want it released because you said it's going to release. If it's broken, that's just going to hurt you more, you know?
You do. They still, believe it or not, they still turn profits.
I know.
That's the
it
biggest
drives
problem
me
with the gaming
crazy.
industry. Yeah. So it's a two-part. You know, we're as far as the industry is concerned. You know, the game designer, the publisher, and the actual gamer are all tied together. Everybody shares the blame.
Right.
You know, it's like, yeah, they put it out, but you fucking bought it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, trust me.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back in time and punch myself in the throat for buying Watch Dogs. If I
Yeah.
could do that, I would.
Yeah,
But I
it's
can't.
important.
So.
Dude, it gets the Peter Molyneux Award of the Year.
But
Really,
it's lessons like that makes me say, okay,
Oh
I'm
man,
really
we should make a
excited.
sword badge for that. we should
Oh.
reintroduce the Aliens Colonial Marines
Badge.
Shame Award. Yeah,
Well,
the
that's-
badge, and
that's
make a
just it.
Peter Molyneux badge.
It's on us as gamers to be like, okay, Watch Dogs or Aliens or whatever. I was super excited about it. I got it on release. It was a bad launch. I'm gonna check myself next time, unless it's a series I know I already like. Batman Arkham Knight. I already like the Batman series. I know I'm gonna get that game and I'm gonna enjoy it because it's the Batman series. But there's other series that aren't out yet that I'm like, oh, this looks super exciting. Like The Division. Tom Clancy's Division looks amazing.
Yeah.
But it could really, really suck. And so I won't get it on launch day because I'm going to wait.
Yeah, and I think
And it's an Ubisoft title, so
Yeah.
you should definitely watch what the fuck you're doing.
yeah. Well, and I think that's a good lesson to be learned from everyone. But it's and I think I agree with what you say, Vance. We all share the blame, right? Like you gotta vote with your wallet, and I think there's a very big problem with the gaming industry where we get on the internet, like this podcast, and we scream about how much we hate it, but then we go and buy the title. And you have to remember that if you're against something, then be against it and don't give them money because you're validating the problem.
Right. Exactly.
But anyway, that was the end of my rant about the year. But yeah,
Damn you, 343! You knew I was bored when I bought that game. You sons of
Let's just
bitches.
put it. I just want to put this out there, guys. There's always going to be an LJN publisher in our industry, and if you don't know who that is, look up LJN, and look at the shit that they produce for the Nintendo. Don't support it, please.
Yeah.
It's okay to put your foot down and go, fuck you, we're not buying your stuff.
Yeah. And I think that goes into my final point for the night before we end it, I think. But, we were having a debate with BSR in our internal group about somebody mentioned, hey, is it nostalgia or is it just a bad year for gaming as to why I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2 for the 30th time? And it kind of made me sit down and think. I'm like, well, I finally went through and beat Final Fantasy 8. I finally went through and now I'm playing through Final Fantasy 6 for the 18th time. And what really hit me is it's not that. It's that, yes, it was a weak AAA year, but it was a great indie year. And so I still stand by, we did an episode on indie gaming a year ago. If you're looking for games to play and you feel like you're not getting the bang for your buck, go, first of all the indie games that they're taking off of Steam Greenlight and pushing onto the consoles, go play those. Because believe it or not, they're really, really good. And even better, go find other indie titles. Go look at what's on ID and Xbox. Go look at these indie guys that are pushing stuff to PlayStation. Go look at Steam Greenlight and find some titles, provided they're not hate-mongering murder sims. And, do it. Because that's, in my opinion, as a gamer, you're going to find more pleasure. I got more fun out of 3.5 to 4 hours of playing The Swapper or Rogue Legacy than I did out of any number of hours playing Assassin's Creed 3 as an example.
But when you play these indie games, keep in mind that they are what they are. You're not going to have the same type of graphics, and it's just the way it is.
And
because
and
you have to accept that, and that's okay. Because if you look at what started all this gaming fanatic, there wasn't great graphics in the first place. Think of it as what Sundance used to be: indie films instead of the big budget stuff, and it's just a big thing.
Well,
it's
the
the
thing
same.
is, I've seen plenty of indie titles
look amazing.
great. Yeah, look
Right.
amazing. So I don't think that's really the only
But-
thing that I would say about indie titles that bothers me a lot that I see on Steam is shit like The Forest, where I'm buying a fucking beta for a full game that just barely got released, but it's been on sale for, I want to say, 8 months or more. That bugs me. Stop selling an incomplete game. And I see it as another way of pre-ordering it so they can see how much they can put into the game, but I don't like it. I don't think it's a good business model. It really bothers me.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that depends. If you have a good title, I'm a believer of the crowdfunding because you put your money where your mouth is. But at the same time, I feel like anything that is successful, it gets a little out of hand. Steam Greenlight was massively successful, so it got a little out of hand. But anyway, Clicky McClickerton.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, there you go. So there's our debate, but there is Entertainment is Dead. I didn't read everybody's list. Let me read off the list of Steven Jacob real quick before we call it, okay? So from those guys, Mandy, we didn't get info from her, but that's okay. So Jacob's list. One thing I want to mention, we all bitched about Destiny a lot. It was listed 4 times by us, so apparently it was better than we give it credit for. But
Take that.
Jacob's List, Wolf
Street
Among
Fighter
Us.
wasn't on that list.
It was on my list. Wolf Among Us, Shadows of Mordor, Infamous Second Son, the infamous First Light expansion, Destiny, and his number one was Dragon Age Inquisition.
I knew he was gonna list Dragon Age.
Dragon Age!
Oh man. Steve's list was actually I agree with a lot of Steve's list as well. So Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls expansion, Hearthstone, which I would completely agree with, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Brothers, Titanfall, Destiny, and the BioShock Burial at Sea Part 2. Which, oh my god, the BioShock expansion content from Infinite was some of the best DLC I've ever played. So I'll agree with that. So anyway, there you go. Sound off feedback at entertainmentisdead.com. If you disagree, agree, want to hear more, we'll read it on the air.
If you want Randy to change back his Twitter handle to a vibrator,
Feedback at
If
entertainmentisdead.com.
there's enough demand for it, I'll do what the people want. All right.
But yeah, find us on iTunes. Please rate and review. Also on Stitcher. Check out our friends Big Shiny Robot. And happy end of the 2014. I hope everybody has a safe new year.
Happy
Happy
New
gaming.
Year.
Now somewhere I click a button that makes us go to black. There it is.
Push the button. Did
Nope.
you push the button, Tom?
I pushed the wrong button. There we go.
We're out today! Don't might not be as good as hopefully it comes through okay.
I think it was a decent cast, though.